So, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining my talk. Hope you enjoyed your coffee. My name is Marcello Pauli, and today I'd like to share a story. It's a story about bringing DDD to a data-driven enterprise, which you might guess can be a tough challenge. But you know what? There's even more. I want to put something on top of it. Bringing domain-driven design to a data-driven enterprise in chaotic times. So this story is from the trenches. I want to talk about the problem we faced, how we solved it, and where we are now. Okay, let's start by just introducing who we are and what we are doing. The company I'm working for is within the insurance domain. It's not an insurance company. It's an insurance comparer. And we are the market leader in Germany, so chances are pretty good that your insurance agent is using our software. But being successful doesn't necessarily mean that we have no problems. We have problems. We see that we're constantly getting slower and slower. It's hard to implement new features. People are working hard to ensure quality. On this picture, you can see two co-workers of mine, pair programming, trying to fix a bug. And you might have the impression that they are having fun and that they are moving fast because of all the dirt. We have stability issues. People are working hard on that too. When there is fire, everyone is on his toes. Managers, business, development, service, IT ops, everyone. We have issues on the business side. They are working hard to get these new insurance products into our system. They are doing testing, meetings. There is so much to do. Summer last year, we started a new project, a renovation project, if you will. The goal is to improve the system for property insurance. So, for instance, liability, furniture, legal protection, and even pets, because your dog is a property too, right? But not the whole system at once. We started with just one single slice, which is legal protection. And what's also important, we had to integrate with this new data acquisition system our business experts wanted to have. This system is already live for another business line, and people are loving it. Starting a new project will lead to one question: brownfield or greenfield? So I'm curious now, who of you would like to start on a greenfield project? Oh, that's most of the people here. And who would like to do brownfield? Oh, just a few hands. Okay, that's untypical, to be honest, because nowadays, that's from my impression, most people recommend working on the brownfield, and for good reasons. But we ask the question ourselves, is it really that easy to decide? What about people's fear to change a system during large refactorings in the code base when there's not a test? How risky is it for a company to change? What about motivating people? So for whatever reason, we decided to do a greenfield project. And when having a fresh start as technicians, what's the most important question? Any ideas? It's architecture, of course. What are we doing? Microservices. Sounds cool. But I've heard about this self-contained systems. Monolith? Are you kidding me? That's where we're coming from. We're going to get rid of this, right? So we came up with this. On the left-hand side, you can see this data acquisition system, which is already in place for another business line. And there's this new thing on the right, the green one. That's what we are going to build. With one single constraint. There is this magic library we had to use. So, we joined the team. And this team was a Scrum team, so we got this for free, right? And in the beginning, we just focused on two business features: search and compare, and some other small stuff too. And we planned a lot. We refined, estimated a lot. This was agile to the max. And we splitted the sprint. Half legacy, half cool new stuff. This sounds fair, right? But constantly, people were pulled back. There is this critical bug in production, and this had to get fixed now. I guess there was one poor guy who never had the chance to build on the new stuff. But we learned a lot together. This new Angular thing, Angular. .NET Core, Docker, CI/CD, pair programming, test-driven development. And after 4 months, there was still a lot to do. We had a nice UI, structured and tested. A nice backend, also well-structured and tested. We had a working CI/CD pipeline. And, oh, did I mention we got this new infrastructure thing with Docker, Consul, Nomad, some kind of orchestrator, dynamic load balancing, monitoring, RabbitMQ, all this stuff. And everything was automated. Infrastructure as code. How cool is that? But search wasn't working. Weird things were in the result list, and we didn't understand. Compare. This wasn't working properly either. We really tried hard, but we were not able to get this working. And that was frustrating. And then we made some technical update, and I think this was this new .NET Core release, I don't know. And after this update, we didn't see this weird data in the UI anymore, because it was gone. Not a single exception, and we had no clue why. Frustrating, and we rolled back. Same week, we had a meeting with our CIO. Well, he constantly came up with us, checking how good we are going, how do we performing. And he said, well, guys, this new UI thing, well, I don't want it anymore. Just get rid of it and integrate in the working UI. Frustrating. The only thing left in the project was a not properly working backend. 4 months. When these things happen in your project, you need at least one crazy person with courage. And I'd like to encourage you to be this crazy guy. Okay, team, this is not going to work at all. I know we were told to use this library, but you know what? Let's try it on our own. This is not a library, this is a wall. Come on, How difficult can it be to just compare two things, right? Half the team agreed. The other half, well, there were firefighters in production at the moment, so no chance. At the same time, lucky we are, a business room got free, and we really wanted this room. And when you have a new room, the sound is, are you hearing me? Okay, I just went. So, and if you have a new room, the first thing you are making is making it nice. Because this is another green field, right? Some plants here, a beamer here, a big TV, whiteboards, a lot of them. And we also found a sofa. How cool is that? And within this room, something magical happened. We just peeled a little hole in the wall. And we started to open this data acquisition system our business should work with. And we're playing around. What's this button here? What data can you put in there? What's happening? And after that, we just scribbled some boxes on the whiteboard, connecting with some lines. And we put some word on it, which we didn't understand, but we saw a structure, a model, if you like. And we had discussions with our business. Can you please explain me what this thing is? Magic library we had to use wasn't brand new. It's already working in production, in another business line, right? Our company spent money on that solution. How would you justify to reinvent the wheel? During the last weeks, we collected all the problems we had. Technical ones, business knowledge issues, organization. So, end of last year, we all came together. The whole business team, the whole dev team, our CTO, and our partner. And we discussed a lot. So you have to know, there is this one question which turns over and over and over again in our company. Within search, why is this tariff not in the result list? This is urgent. And now we have 3 teams on that feature with fragmented knowledge. And our partner is even not located in Hamburg. How long would it take to answer this question? So we came up with 3 possibilities. Number 1. We use the library, and we may have to live with the consequences. Number 2, we stop the project and hand it all over to our partner. Our partner knows best this data acquisition and this magic library, right? Just put in a UI on top of it. Option number 3, we don't use a library and accept the fact that the project is going to take much longer, and we reinvent the wheel. And we all agree that it would be best when we take it all. But we can't decide. So there were some discussions with our CIO. And well, I think he was in good mood or something, because at this day there was a Christmas party. And he agreed. But he reminds us, there is this one killer feature he wanted to have. And he spoke about this before. After the Christmas party, or after the Christmas holiday, we found new friends. Some of our business experts joined our room. How great is that? We used the chance to break all the rules. I'm curious now. Who of you is doing Scrum? Okay, keep your hands up. Sorry, keep your hands up if you do planning. Keep your hands up if you do reviews. Keep your hands up if you do estimation. Put your hands down if there's at least one single person in this room you don't know. That's weird. It seems to me that almost we are doing the same. How can that be? I'd like you to read it by your own. So, we took this to the extreme. We got rid of all dailies. We got rid of all planning. We got rid of refinements. We got rid of Scrum. We didn't want meetings anymore. Instead, we forced collaboration. And I like to quote this famous sentence from Dan North. During an inception, when we are most ignorant about most aspects of the project, the best use we can possibly make of the time available is to attempt to identify and reduce our ignorance. How does search work? We had a lot of discussions with our experts. Collaboration was really good, but we didn't get the point. We were moving in circles. And in the end, everyone was weird. To keep it short, what was a problem? It was language. We found when our business experts are talking about insurance tariffs in search, it had nothing to do with the data in data acquisition. It turns out that these are completely different concepts. When talking about a tariff in search, we were talking about a very specific variation. While in data acquisition, a tariff is a construction kit, a building kit, a framework. And that's exactly the reason why our business wanted to have this system, because it's so much easier to work with. But we realized the problem with this killer feature. This is going to be damn hard to solve. So here's my favorite part. We had some options and we decided to solve that problem now. So far, we knew the exact starting point and we knew the expected result. But we didn't know how to get there. We had to find an algorithm. So in the room, there was just 4 guys. There was no business expert, no developer, no architect, and no lead. We are all the same. A bunch of people trying to solve the problem. 3 days in a row, not a single line of code, just thinking. And after these 3 days, with the work of everyone, all together, we thought we found a solution. But we didn't implement it. We double-checked with the business first. We've learned from the past. And what did they told us? Well, not 100% sure, but sounds reasonable. Could work. So we wrote tests together. And we did more programming. And just after a few days, all green. And you can be sure, having this experience, you can think you can change the world. A small world, to be honest. And you know, as a side effect, because we talked so much, we gained so much knowledge. So, but it wasn't completely finished. There was more. But we had a very solid foundation. And after some time, we decided to organize our work because we found so many things. So, we wrote Jira tickets and started planning. And I'd like to show you one ticket we wrote. Let's imagine you're not here, you're not listening to me. And I'm going to show you this ticket. What's wrong with it? There's nearly no information. It has a title, because a ticket has a title. There's just a component and a link to an epic. That's it. And this is really funny. When you're with your team in a planning, and there is this organizer of this planning, and he had no clue, and he sees this ticket, you had to look in his face. This is so, you're kidding me, right? But that's all what we need. We don't have to write down some description because everybody on the team was knowing what this is meaning. This was just the reminder for us that there is more work to be done. So, to shorten the story, we lost half the team 6 months ago. There was other work to do. So we were left with just 2 developers. And this was bad news. The good news are that we were able to implement every upcoming feature with an amazing speed. Some of them were challenging. Others were really easy. And sometimes implementing a new feature was just adding 3 lines of code. And we also did some really crazy refactorings. And to be honest, this is going to be the best project of my life. So that's the story. And there is enough time to talk about some technical stuff now. Any one of you don't know this? Okay, so we all know hexagonal architecture. But how we applied it? Well, we just concentrated on the domain model, the heart of our software. We ignored infrastructure. Databases, what's it good for? I don't know. We implemented a feature and tested it and moved on to the next feature. And then we saw, okay, our model doesn't fit anymore. We have to change it. And then we moved on to the next feature. If you apply infrastructure code at the very beginning, you're going to have to change this too. Is this necessary in a project when the product isn't live yet? Simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. Let's talk about tests. Coming from a background where we had no tests at all in legacy. But no, that's not fair. It's not at all. We got improvements there. We are doing it better now. But most of the code base isn't well tested. And when you're coming from one extreme, you naturally get to the other extreme, which it means you're going to test everything. And this is really not bad, right? But as it turns out, there are some tests which hinders us from doing great refactorings. And it were the unit tests. While doing great refactorings, unit tests didn't get us the convenience we needed. What gave us the convenience was our integration tests, our feature tests, if you will. So we got rid of unit tests. All unit tests? No. There were a couple of components we did unit tests, but in general, we favored feature tests. I want to show you one feature test from our very early stages. It's C# code, I hope you can see it. The main point here, or the thing that I want to point out, is a big fat comment over at the beginning. It describes the actual state of our model, what action we invoke on it, and what we expect as a result. And then there was this weird code underneath there. And doing this over and over again, we figured out that this is not ideal. It's redundant. The description, the comments are redundant to the code. And you know what? When you copy-paste something, and this is normal, some things will be wrong. And we ask, can we do it better? Can we make our tests more readable? And we could. I want to show you an actual version of our integration tests, of our feature tests, how we are doing it now. And I'm sorry, it's in German, because our domain language is German. Would you guess that a business expert, a non-technician, could read this? They can. We proved. We talked to other business expert. Come over here, please. Have a look at this code. Can you read this? Do you know what we're doing? And she said, yes, of course, I'm not stupid. But there's even more. Think about implementing just a small script which gets rid of all the technical stuff, the dots, the brackets, the curly braces, the errors. What you will get is some kind of documentation. You get all examples you were working with your business on. And putting a feature description just on top of the file, you can generate cool documentation from it for nearly free. Would this be a great deal? So who of you is doing code coverage? Yeah, we did too, or we're doing it too. And for us, as it turns out, when we got rid of all the unit tests and implementing new features, we suddenly saw, oh my God, there is untested code. How can this be? Looking at the code while doing programming, we found that all our scenarios are green, but there is also a not implemented exception, but everything is green. How can this be? Now you have two options. You missed something. There's something more to learn. You have missed the domain concept, maybe. And you can double check now with your business. Look at my examples. Do we really cover all the scenarios? Is there something we are missing? And if they say, no, everything's right, well, then you just found a design smell. The model isn't 100% perfect, but it's working. And now you can decide on your own. Is this okay for us? Can we move on? Or are we doing a refactoring? Looking at the larger scale, it turns out that applying hexagonal architecture automatically leads to easy testing the domain because it's all pure. Data in, some behavior, data out, do some assertions. Testing infrastructural code, is your access to the database right, is more difficult because you need infrastructure, right? You have to think about getting the data into the database. So, what do we got? Up to now, we found ourselves 3 pillars for making software projects successful. We proved ourselves, if you want to go fast in a project, you have to go slow first. Know whether the environment, don't care about it. It's your job to slow down. And free yourself from some things which hinders you. Ask yourself, are these tools we are applying, everyone is applying, is this really supporting us? And when no, get rid of it. You don't need it. But the most important one for us is that we create ourselves a joyful atmosphere to learn. So I have to talk about some other experience I early made. You will notice that today there is some movement about functional programming. And I started my career as a COBOL developer. Anyone here who knows COBOL? Whoa! It's a great language. And for 7 years, or 7 years ago, I switched the paradigm moving to OOP. And this was damn hard for me. But I liked it. There was so much to find out. And today, I'm just want to try some other paradigm, just for fun. And due to the lack of my creativity, in my spare time or in the hobby, I just re-implemented some business features with a new language, with a total different paradigm. And I took time, or I have a look at my clock, how fast is it? What time does it cost to get this implemented? And I was astonished, because I was really 2 then 4 times faster than doing it in my normal day-to-day language. Is my language wrong? C#? No. It turns out that our bottleneck today is learning. Learning on the domain is damn hard. If you want to get even more fast, you have to improve the way you learn. So we have enough time, so here's the extra mile. A little challenge if you want. I have to share a secret. We have integration problems. When talking about integration, most people tend to think about integrating IT systems. But there is a common pattern how to do it, right? It's this. You just get this shit working. I know integration is really not that nice code. There is a lot of mapping. You have to work, you get this shit done. But make it work. No, I don't want to talk about this. When I talk about integration, I talk about integrating people. Because imagine, it cannot be that just 2 guys in the organization can work on that project. We had to scale. We figured out that with implementing so many features, our cognitive load doesn't get it anymore. And we see it in discussions. Oh, was it this? No, was it that? Let's just look in the code. I mean, this is fast, but it's an indicator we have to scale. But the problem is now we have a totally different mindset. How do we get people on board? We think differently. The way we are working is differently. So if you want, there's the task. I'm going to show you 3 models now, which we found on the internet. And if you like, we can have a chat afterwards or in this evening with a beer. What would you do? So the 3 models, which is called inject, incubate, and extract, but I found this word really annoying. It's boring. It's more cool to talk about missionaries, boot camps, and Shanghaiing. So, missionaries. How does it work? We have this new team with this new mindset, and the old team, and you want to integrate. One option is to put someone from the new team to the old team. And it's his mission or her mission to get all the gray people green. Boot camp. You take one guy from the old team, which is gray, and take it over in your team. And you try to make him green. And when he's green, you send him back and get the next one. Option number 3, Shanghaiing. You have the new team, and you take one from the old team and tries to make him green. But when he's green, he stays in the team. And then you take another one. So, this is the end of my talk. And I hope you enjoyed. And if there are any questions, please ask. Okay. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the talk and have a nice conference.